This episode of the D-Lew Podcast is brought to you by Goalie Nutrition. As someone who's used Goalie for quite some time, I can tell you that they're not only very good, but they're very beneficial. My favorite are the Super Green Gummies. The Super Green Gummies are uniquely crafted with a spectrum of essential nutrients such as vitamins A, B12, folic acid, and thiamine. It supports a healthy liver function, healthy nervous and immune system, digestive health, a boost to your metabolism, and overall health and well-being. There are no artificial sweeteners, flavors, or colors from artificial sources. They're vegan-friendly, gluten-free, and gelatin-free. All loyal listeners of the D-Lew Podcast get a special 10% discount at checkout. Go to goalie.com, use promo code DLEW. That's goalie.com, use promo code DLEW. This podcast is a Believe Network and Siete production. Welcome to another edition of the D-Lew Podcast, brought to you by Believe Network. I'm your host, Derrick T. Lewis, and I hope every single one of you that are listening had an incredible Labor Day weekend, and I hope this week is treating you great as well. You know, this week's episode, and I'm going to get right into it right away, P La Cangri, she's a DJ. I mean, she does everything. She, obviously a recording artist. She does it all, and her and I met a few months ago at I don't want to say conference, but it was like a mixer hosted by Vidya, and that's the parent company for Vivo, Excite Global, and several other, video content outlets where people like myself, other artists can display all of their art, their music, the music videos, etc. But, we really got to know each other there, and she had agreed to come on to the D-Lew Podcast, and I told her, hey, I have my own podcast. I'd love to have you on, and she definitely agreed. And, we talked about a lot of things, her relationship with her grandmother when she was young, and that led her into getting into music, how she got into DJing, and all that she's doing today. And let's not wait any longer. My interview with the one and only P La Cangri starts right now. Well, ladies and gentlemen, it gives me great pleasure to introduce a woman that really just shatters the mold in all aspects. She's a recording artist. She's a DJ. I mean, she's coined the hottest female DJ, period. Here's the one and only P La Cangri. How are you today?
Good. You said that awesome. With that introduction, I could just retire at this point, man. you said woman. I feel, whoa. Yeah, man. That's what I'm talking about.
Absolutely.
Sure.
I'm all about women empowerment on the D-Lew Podcast for sure. But,
That's
you and
up.
so you and I had met a few months back. Actually, I can't believe it's been 3 months already. We met at June 10th to be exact.
Wow.
Because I was going through my calendar and I was just waiting. I was like, that was June? I'm like, this year has really gone by so fast. But we met at a mixer for the company Vidya.
Yes.
They're one of the parent companies for Vivo and a lot of the platforms that are out there for music,
Yes.
for videos and things of that nature. And we hit it off right away. And when we had talked about you coming onto the D-Lew Podcast, you without hesitation, you said you definitely wanted to do it. So let's go back to every story has its, beginning. So let's talk about your beginning. So let's talk about life growing up.
Well, I'm Cuban heritage.
Mm-hmm.
So, music was always in the background. Cut to the chase. My grandmother took care of me when my parents worked.
Okay.
And she sang the whole time she cooked.
Really?
Yes. She sang. She was a soprano. So she sang the whole time she cooked. So I was with her in the kitchen, while she was cooking. And that's where everything came from. So, growing up a little bit, I asked her why she never pursued music as a career. She said it was kind of frowned upon, that lifestyle. So she got married and had children and did what she did. So I guess I'm living vicariously, or she was living vicariously through me. But
right.
Definitely, her voice was spectacular. So that's how it all came about.
That's amazing. And I think about, when you talk about the relationship, with your grandmother, I know what my grandmother, God rest her soul, Her and I consider her one of my best friends when she was living, one of my best friends in my family, because we connected on professional wrestling and we connected on baseball. So
That's crazy.
that, yeah, seriously. And it's like, I'm in the wrestling business, as a ring announcer, you know what I mean? And I actually did play Little League Baseball too when I was little, but that was how her and I connected. So a lot of people, that I've run into over the years, is just the connection with grandparents and how they're so important. Granted, that's their time to kind of spoil their grandkids and things of that nature. But you to connect music, with
Yeah,
your
man.
grandmother speaks volumes. So she meant a lot to you for sure.
Absolutely. I get asked a lot of questions like, who do you admire? Or what's your favorite singer? And I always say my grandmother. And I know that
Mhm.
sounds corny, but
It doesn't.
she's the one that inspired me. You know what I mean? She completely inspired me to do what I'm doing today, especially the part, I hate the word no or can't. Those are
Mhm.
some words that I just don't like. So when she told me that she couldn't, I said, well, I guess I got to do it for you. You know what I mean?
Exactly, exactly. So with that being said, now obviously with your grandmother being an inspiration, now did you take any voice lessons or did you take like any instruments when you were younger as far as having that music within you?
Well, the arrogance of us artists when we're growing up that we think we know it all.
Mm-hmm.
So my father was telling me that that I should take voice lessons if I wanted to take this seriously. I said, no, I know what I'm doing. I don't need voice lessons. You know, I'm the shit. I can curse here. I'm the shit. So
That's fine.
yeah. So he was right and I was wrong. So later on in life, I started taking voice lessons from this Oscar nominated voice teacher named Marlon Saunders.
Oh,
So I did take some voice lessons from Marlon. Not when my father told me, but later on, because I figured that I really, really needed it. So it really did help a lot. And it helped with control and all kinds of nonsense, the things that we don't really think about when because, the recording aspect is so, I mean, a dummy can record a song at this point. You don't even know how to sing, but when you do know how to sing and you sing correctly, all those extra tools that we use really
mm-hmm.
enhance the beauty of your vocals.
Exactly. And I'll tell you a quick story real quick. When I first started, getting into the music, and I'm an actor, first and foremost. When I got
Right.
into the entertainment industry, I was strictly acting. But obviously music is in my blood. It's something I've always wanted to do. And my first song was okay. The second song, I was like struggling, you know what I mean? And then
Right.
I ended up taking voice lessons with somebody. And I'm appreciative today of what she did for me. But just some of the little things that I didn't even realize that I wasn't doing.
Like breathing.
Breathing. Yes.
Yes.
Oh my God. Just something as simple as taking breaths and all these other
It's
things,
crazy.
understanding how your mouth is shaped when you're making certain sounds and things like that. So it's the little things that you may not learn on your own, that when
Right.
someone that, when you're being trained by someone that knows what they're doing, it could definitely take you to the next level. Like someone that I know and trust heard my new record that just came out. She already heard a difference within my voice
That's
listening
dope.
to the new record. And I'm just saying, well, wow,
That's
taking lessons is extremely important.
Yeah, and I think another thing is that's great is that every producer that I've had, I always pick a producer that's a vocalist and
Mm-hmm.
knows harmonies.
Right.
Because when I go into a session to record like the album I just recorded, Boss of the Block, the team that I use, one of the guys is a better singer than me 100 times. So it was
Okay.
dope to have someone like that in there, guiding me.
Yeah. I mean, that's the goal because and I could use a sports analogy for a second. I mean, look at Deion Sanders. He's the coach of the University of Colorado football team. This guy is a football Hall of Famer, two-time Super Bowl champion who's been there and done it.
Absolutely.
And he's got those kids motivated. So I would rather go to someone that knows what they're doing, knows what they're talking about, and is better than me. So I have somewhere to work towards.
Exactly.
You know what I'm saying? So I know you say your grandmother was your first inspiration as far
Right.
as the singing, but what
Right.
was the first artist that gravitated you towards, that as far as loving music and things of that nature? What was the first artist that
Well,
you paid attention to?
again, back to my grandmother, she turned me on to this singer, like you walk past your grandmother's bedroom, you hear stuff like the TV and radio and all this stuff. So she turned me on to this singer named Luis Miguel, and Luis Miguel is from Mexico.
Okay.
And she says, so I looked and I said, wow, he's hot. She's like, yes, he's hot, but you have to listen to his voice. So she turned me on to him. He became an incredible inspiration because at the time I was pursuing music in English, and just something wasn't, I don't know. It wasn't I guess I didn't have the vocal experience enough to really do English music the way that I heard it one way, but I wasn't delivering it that way. So once she turned me on to Luis Miguel, I started listening to his music and listening to the way that because he didn't write. He had writers, like 80-year-old men who wrote about love and losing and how they get drunk and why their wife left them or something. And they're like really meaningful. He was a young guy, but the people that wrote for him were older dudes who had all this life experience. Hence, all the awards that he's won for all these songs, because they were so deep. So I started mimicking what he did. It was horrible in the beginning, singing in Spanish. I was just terrible. But something happened and made the switch. And that was, let's say, Luis Miguel is definitely my vocal inspiration, my favorite artist in Latin music.
And got it. Now, you had mentioned something, and I wanted to take a little deep dive in this. You said, singing in English versus Spanish. What was I guess at that time in your life, what was the most difficult? Because I know you said you were doing things in English, but it wasn't so. So I guess what was the difference?
I couldn't identify. Like, I couldn't find my voice. Like I couldn't really. I mean, I sing in the right key. It's not like I'm out of key. I just couldn't find. I couldn't find that feeling. So I can sound. I could sound like what I heard on radio. Like, to me, I wasn't sounding commercial to myself. No one ever said anything to me, but I knew that I wasn't sounding commercial. So once I started switching to Spanish, I found my voice. And once I found my voice and I found the writing and being passionate about writing, not just writing words, once I found all that, the English just fell into place. Got it. So in other words, you needed to go to that deeper place. Right. To make it all come full circle again. So when you found okay, I got it now. I totally got it. Bravo. Yes. Now, how old were you though when you said, you know what, I'm gonna go at it with being a recording artist? When was that like when that light bulb, when that switch went off and said, I'm gonna go ahead, I'm gonna go full throttle with this? If I lie to you not, I must have been 4 years old. 4, really? I knew it. I knew it. I had some kind of, I kept getting sick with a cold. My parents took me to a doctor. They're like, she has an infection. We've got to do they had to take something out. I don't know if it was a growth or whatever it was out. And they took it out. When I woke up, I couldn't speak because of, the pain and stuff. For sure. And when I couldn't speak, I started freaking out. That means that I couldn't sing. Oh, wow. So when I realized at 4 or 5 that I couldn't sing, I went ballistic. My grandmother had to calm me down, tell me that it would pass. It was just a surgery. Then in a few days, as the doctor said, my voice will come back. So when I realized that I didn't have a voice, that's the moment that I knew that's the passion that I had. I mean, I didn't know in the scope of things, obviously, because I'm a kid, but I knew that that's what I wanted to pursue. And my mother kept all the stuff that you do in school, like what do you want to be when you grow up? And it always has singer. Like it never delved into, I'm going to be an attorney. It was just singer. Well, I mean, you know what? Sometimes kids know, I think not all. And I mean, I was the same age when I said to myself, I wanted to be an actor. And I saw a movie with Faye Dunaway called Mommy Dearest. I don't know if you ever heard of it. Oh, of course. It's a classic. Yeah. I was 4 years old. Now, mind you, I didn't at 4 years old, of course, I don't know the context of the story, but when the one scene when she got mad at Christina because she had the wire hangers and she made her scrub the floors with Ajax and all this other stuff. And she said, no, wire hangers. And at 4 years old, I had the wherewithal to realize I want to do that. Well, and you knew that it wasn't real. That was acting. You knew that was fake. Acting. Right. That's dope. I knew. I'm like, I want to do that. And I said it to myself. I never said it to a soul. Anybody. Yeah, I never told anybody either. But that's what I knew. Mm-hmm. So I knew. I kept that within myself for years. I didn't tell anybody.
because I wanted to just perform. I wanted to entertain. I wanted to build emotion, bring emotions out of people. That's what I've always wanted to do. So when people say, "Oh, I was 4 years old," I believe it because I'm living proof of that too.
Absolutely.
Now, obviously, in getting started in this industry, obviously, as well as anybody, it is rather difficult. So who were some of your mentors when you first started getting started in the industry?
Wow, that's a good. My friends, man, my friends would, I guess, not so much mentor. I was always a leader of everything that I do, but my
La
friends were
jefa.
la jefa, yeah. But my friends really cheered me on. They really, really like supported me. My parents did, side-eyed. They wanted me to be, a doctor or something else, but they supported me. My whole family did. Um, I didn't have a mentor per se. I think, or as you know, not think, I do know, the music industry, everybody's very selfish.
For sure.
And I run into that lately too. I did a post the other day, basically talking to some of these organizations that we all belong to, basically saying, look, if we're at a gathering and you tell people you're going to help them and they call you, then help them. And if you're not, just don't say it. Just shut up. Just don't
I
say
agree.
it.
I totally agree.
Just be quiet. You know what I mean? Just be quiet. Whenever I say that I'm going to help somebody, I say I'm going to do it. It might not be right now, but I will. And if I don't believe in the project or I wasn't a part of the project, then I'll just stay quiet and say, and I usually, when I stay quiet, that I know that I can't help in that situation. Understand? But back to mentorship, there are people who say they're going to mentor, they're going to help, and they don't. They don't. But I in turn have mentored. I have a real successful mentorship story. But yeah. So I didn't have a mentor. I did not.
Wow. And you know what? A lot of times, people are self-taught. People just learn from trial and error, which is a great tool and a great way to learn because
absolutely,
every L is not a loss, is a lesson.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah,
and
for sure.
So that's another way to learn, and then you can pass that down to another. Definitely.
Absolutely.
Now, what were some of those challenges you faced early on?
The easiest one, the most stupid one all of us make, to get a record deal. Like why do we even need one, right? But how to get a record deal. And then I didn't know how. And I figured out that it wasn't talent. Then that was like mind blowing. That had nothing to do with talent. Had to do with a lot of other factors. Especially being a woman, you can almost imagine what the factors are. Yeah, I mean, guys too, because I've had guy friends that have gone through. That's my daughter, Macallan Davidoff, my puppy, barking at everything. But that was one of the challenges. And then people telling me that I couldn't because I wasn't famous enough, so I couldn't like get sponsorship or get this or get that. Like, I don't understand that word. Like, what do you mean I can't? What are you saying to me right now that I can't? So my first lesson was how to get a record deal. Then after I got one, I didn't want it. That was a rude awakening. I got one, hated it, didn't want it, opened up my own label. It was the best lesson I've ever learned in my life.
Now, what was about now, if I may, what I guess once you did sign the deal, what was it that you was like, I don't know.
It was the controlling factor. Controlling factor. And they didn't know what they were doing, like everything else. They didn't know what they were doing. It was the controlling factor. They didn't know what they were doing. And it was just, I received a copyright where there were 25 people on a song. And it was in Spanish and I wrote it. It's like, who are these? I don't understand how the secretary gets 2 points. Like, what is going on here?
That's odd.
It's not, because if you look at some of these copyrights, everybody's getting a piece. I mean, Puffy right now is giving back all the publishing and
all the publishing. I just read about that.
Right. So once I realized that controlling factor, I said, these people that I'm signed to are pretty dumb. I'm smart. I can probably open the label myself. So what I did was I waited till the contract ran out and I opened up my own label. And I haven't looked back ever since. So it's kind of dope,
Yeah, it's all about the DIY entrepreneurial spirit, man. If you have it within
Absolutely.
you, tap into that and take advantage of it, because we hear stories all the time about, how many documentaries have we seen of the unsung heroes or whatever the case
I've met
about.
some. I've met some, that you and I have never heard of before that
Mhm,
wrote XYZ song that we sing at the club, that
mhm,
I play.
mhm.
And we don't know that this guy wrote it or this woman wrote it or whoever, you just don't know. But yeah, those are the things, those are the things. I mean, and being a label, we all make mistakes. I mean, it's not like it's been 100%, whatever, but I'm living my best life doing this.
Gotcha. Now let's talk about the creative process for just a second. When you come up with an idea, when you come up with a thought process in regards to what direction you want to go in, talk about what fits your narrative in regards to your creative process and how you make it come to life.
I think every song or every project has been different. Sometimes I have immediate things I need to do right now. For example, there's a song called Cuéntale de mí that I wrote here in my office. I wrote it in my head. I called my producer and said, "Hey, I wrote this song. This is what it says." He goes, "Okay, we'll record it next week." I said, "No, I need you to come to my house now." And he says,
Hmm.
"You want me to come to your house?" He goes, "But the studio's at my house." I said, "Bring your studio to my house." So he put all his stuff, like, what's a studio now? Mac, computer, whatever. He put everything in his car. He drove
Right.
it over and we did the record immediately. And yeah, it was cool. It's every song is different, every project is different, but I'm always in a hurry. Like I'm afraid that if I don't record it right now, that the idea is gonna like I'm gonna lose the passion. I have a lot
Hmm.
of passion when I sing or rap, so it's about the passion. So it's just I get inspired. Everything that you've heard from me or will hear from me is always a truth. I can't sing about things that I don't know.
Bingo.
I can't. I have
Right
to sing
on.
about real life experiences. And my co-writer had an incredible co-writer on this album. Him and I spent a lot of time talking. I didn't know that the stuff we were talking about, he would help me make it to song form, which is dope. So he got to know me really well. And the stuff that he wrote sounded like the parts that he wrote sounded like I wrote them myself. So that's where it comes from a real place.
This episode of the D-Lew Podcast is brought to you by Goalie Nutrition. As someone who's used Goalie for quite some time, I can tell you that they're not only very good, but they're very beneficial. My favorite are the Super Green Gummies. The Super Green Gummies are uniquely crafted with a spectrum of essential nutrients such as vitamins A, B12, folic acid, and thiamine. It supports a healthy liver function, healthy nervous and immune system, digestive health, a boost to your metabolism, and overall health and well-being. There are no artificial sweeteners, flavors, or colors from artificial sources. They're vegan friendly, gluten free, and gelatin free. All loyal listeners of the D-Lew podcast get a special 10% discount at checkout. Go to goalie.com, use promo code DLEW. That's goalie.com, use promo code DLEW. Yeah, I find the most, I want to say creative, but I want to say the most meaningful records are the one coming from truth, especially from the artist that actually wrote it.
Absolutely.
I'll be the first to admit my very first record was coming from a truthful place about a break. It was a breakup song. And
Right.
I took those hurtful feelings and I put my absolute all into it. I mean, really. And I used to wonder, like years ago, why did Taylor Swift used to talk about her breakups and everything? Because
I
she's
was
coming from
about to mention Taylor. Yeah, she's
yeah,
awesome.
and she's coming from a real place.
Yeah, she is.
She's not fabricating anything about a lifestyle. She's not fabricating anything about a car she drives. She doesn't talk about those things. She's
Miley
talking about
Cyrus too.
right, exactly.
I,
And
I mean,
Miley, she's
how much more real than Miley can you get?
I mean, and she's really opening herself up more and more and more about. She's admitting, yeah, I was a little wild child 10 years ago, but
Yeah,
I'm a grown woman now and I'm in a different place
right.
mentally, spiritually, all this other things. So, and that's just the growth of an artist. That's the evolution, of an artist is just seeing them grow and prosper in all aspects of their life. But for me as an artist, I can't fabricate anything.
No,
You
neither
know what
can
I mean?
I.
No, like I will not drive in a Maserati because I don't drive a Maserati. I don't, you know.
Yeah, I mean, I believe the same thing. The first video that we did for this album for Boss of the Block, the song is called Atrévete.
Mhm.
First of all, I wanted to lose weight for the video. I did. I lost 20 pounds
Oh,
because I wanted.
congratulations.
Thank you, because I wanted to look a certain way.
Mhm.
And then we shot it in Miami. So, sunglasses, sneakers, like, the whole look.
Mhm.
And what I did was that I bought everything. The clothes I'm wearing, the sneakers, the glasses, everything. And
Right.
my management team at the time said, "Hey, we rented you a car for one of the scenes." It was some kind of I don't know what kind of car it was. It wasn't like a Maserati, but it was like some kind of a sports car. You would recognize it if you saw it. It's in the video.
Especially if it's in Miami, you're gonna see Maserati, Lambo,
Yeah, so I didn't have one.
Bugatti. Yeah.
I had like a sports car. So some of my fans had asked me, hey, the sneakers you have on, you rented them? I said, no, I own them. If you look through my Instagram, you can see that I'm wearing them. They're Christian Louboutin, the red bottom sneakers. I'm
Right.
wearing Versace glasses. They're mine because I worked DJing to purchase everything. So in that video, I would look dope, because I didn't want anybody asking me what you're saying right now. Like, is that really yours? So when it came down to the car, somebody said, well, obviously it's not your car. I go, yeah, you're obviously right because I drive a Mercedes. I'm saying, so
Mhm.
my Mercedes is more expensive than that car. So with that said, it's what you're saying. It's like, I don't want to be in something that I can't afford or something that, unless it's a fantasy song that I'm fantasizing about having, understand, which is cool too.
You're
But I
setting the
really,
story, you're setting the expectation that it is a fantasy
right,
right from the jump, where the viewer is saying, oh, she's dreaming.
right,
Makes
right. Or she,
sense.
yeah, yeah. But I don't feel comfortable. What you said about doing stuff that's fake. I'm not comfortable with that yet.
Right.
I don't know
I
if I'll
know.
ever be, but it's
No,
cool.
I'm the same way. Now you mentioned something for us DJing. Let's backtrack just a little bit. So
Okay.
when did you start DJing? Where did you learn? And who were some of your heroes in the DJ game that you were able to kind of look at, emulate after a little bit, and say, this is the direction I want to go in?
This is gonna sound crazy. I started DJing all my growing up music. All my friends were guys. I just
Mm-hmm.
had a guy friends, and they were doing these parties that were like a bunch of famous DJs in the town that I lived in.
Mm-hmm.
And they say, yo, why don't we teach P how to DJ? So a friend of mine said, I'll teach you how to DJ because you like music and stuff. So he taught me how to DJ.
Mm-hmm.
And I DJed like all through college. And then once I got my deal, I stopped. Because what I started doing was I was performing and touring. So I didn't think in my mind that I can do both at the same time.
Right.
And then fast forward, I had a manager and my family were like, how come you're not DJing anymore? You should DJ. I go, can I do both? He goes, yeah, you can do both. So I got booked like from what I have two radio shows. And my manager said, I booked you to DJ. I said, in front of people? He said, yeah, in front of people. I go, what are you saying? He goes, that you're that good that you should be DJing in front of people. So he booked me on the Tuesday afternoon. I was playing some more Indictment,
Mm-hmm.
and that lasted about 3 weeks. Next thing you know, I'm playing again, like in the Gansevoort area, like downtown in Manhattan.
Mm-hmm.
So that I was playing at one of the big clubs, like doing the after work. And then that translated into bigger money and bigger clubs. And here I am at Bar 13, where I'm the resident DJ. Now, as far as heroes, that's a touchy subject. Um, because some of the people that you grew up admiring DJ or that you see DJ, I get to work with or meet. And a lot of these people have lost their passion
Mm-hmm.
for DJing. Like I have this innate passion for what I do so well. So someone took me to see this Latin DJ, Alex Sensation. He's one of the biggest Latin DJs. There is a radio personality.
Got
And
it.
someone said to me, hey, you're playing at the same club he's playing in about a month. So he's doing the opening night. Why don't you come see what he does? And when I saw what he does, which is basically just connect, which is something that I do regardless, connect, and how comfortable he was. Watching him that day let me know that it was okay to be who I was, which is to connect, not just play the best mixes, not to pick the best records, but to really, really connect with people.
Mm-hmm.
So, and that's my specialty is connection. And that night also, I'll tell you a story that I've never talked about in the recording, Alex had on a pair of sneakers that day, him and his manager. I looked down at them. I said, wow, those are dope. I wonder what they are. And I was too embarrassed to ask him. So hindsight being what it is now, he was wearing those sneakers that I'm wearing in that video. So I was able to figure out what sneakers they were and purchase them. Now I own them. So now it's like I reached the pinnacle of my life that I say, I'm not Alex, but I worked my way to get there. You know what I'm saying?
Got
So
it.
that was inspiration that evening. That was an inspiration to see him work and to see him really care about whose birthday it was, who said hello to him, who inboxed him. He wasn't just mixing. He was creating an experience. So that's my gift, is to create experiences. Do I have a hero DJ? No, I don't. Because I've seen some of these greats play next to me, and they've lost it. They've lost that. To them, it's just getting paid.
Yeah.
It's not.
It's just another gig. Right.
It's another gig. To me, every gig is my last gig in my head. So that's my answer. I don't know who's going to like that or not, but that's the truth.
As a self-taught DJ from about 10 years ago, I literally taught myself how to DJ via virtual DJ. And I kind of got into it by accident. And when you said, and it resonated with me, because I always, because I mainly do weddings. I haven't DJ in a while now, but it's mainly special events, wedding receptions, that type of thing. I'm not sure if I'm ready for the clubs yet. I think I need to maybe shadow somebody to get there. But when the point you made in regards to making people feel special, that right there, I knew from jump. I said, when I first got into it, I said, I'm going to make people remember this night for the next 5, 10 to 15 years. I was just having this conversation with DJ Yoshi. Shout out to DJ Yoshi. He actually did my remix for Every Second Make It Count 2 years ago on my other EP. And he and I were having this very same conversation about that, because that was always been my goal as a DJ, was I want people to create a timestamp for people. You know what I mean? They could be having the crappiest day, but the mix that you put in can make them forget about whatever it is going on in their life, any drama that's going on in their life.
Absolutely.
And that's always been a goal of mine whenever I DJ. I want people to remember.
It's incredible. I mean, the play that I play, the spot that I have, the residency, is iconic. It's Bar 13. It's down the street from NYU.
Okay.
Owned by legendary DJ Eddie Batiste, who's played at, these clubs that that you see in movies like Studio 54 and stuff like that. So he's a legendary DJ with a lot of knowledge, and for him to allow me to be his resident DJ says a lot about the talent that I have, because, playing for someone like that is insane. You have no idea the pressure that I have when I play. But again, it's about those regulars that come in every week. I have people that come in every weekend. I've got people that come in after a breakup that were here with their boyfriend last week and broke up, and they come in to hang out, and I can make them forget or make them cry,
Right.
And it's that power. And I do something that most DJs don't do. I take requests, which makes me dope, because I don't have a playlist. I don't go in with a playlist. I go in, I read the audience, and I play what I play. So when someone asks me for a request, 9 times out of 10 the audience is right. They're feeling something that maybe I'm not feeling because I'm not in the crowd, and they'll say, hey, can you play this song? I'm like, oh, okay. Like the Pop Smoke song, Welcome to the Party. That was somebody from Rough Riders who was, shout out to Rough Riders, they were in the club. I hadn't played the song yet, and the guy said, yo, P, sincere, play this song, the place is gonna go nuts. I said, okay. So I played it, and the place went berserk. So a lot of DJs, they get into that thing, well, I'm a legendary DJ, or I'm the popular DJ, so I know everything, so why don't ask me for requests? No, that's not the way to be. The audience is paying for an experience, give it to them. Or maybe it's that you can't. Maybe your playlist is what you know, and that's it.
Yeah, and I guess once you're stagnant, it's hard for you to break some of those habits and break some of those. I'm only doing it this way because this way is what works for me. But again, you have to do what works for the consumer, because the consumer is the one that can give a review of, hey, I saw DJ such and such one night. I don't know. You know what I mean? And the word gets around fast. You just never know.
No, it does. I mean, you can't please everybody, but you can try
Right.
your best. You can definitely try your best.
And as long as you look in the mirror the next day and tell yourself that you gave it everything you got, that's the only thing you can ever ask
Yeah,
for as an art, as a creative, as an artist, whatever direction that you're going in, for sure.
absolutely.
Now, what's the best advice that anyone's giving you about the industry as a whole?
The best advice. That's don't sell your dignity. I mean,
There you go. Talk about
and
that a
then
little bit.
yeah, I mean it's not that deep, man.
Right.
You're gonna get there. Just you don't have to. I've had friends that have surpassed me in views and whatever you want to call it in popularity. I know they've got big records, you know,
Right.
and you know they're suicidal, you know, because they've done things that you know they never thought they would do just to be popular or make that money. You know, a lot of our greatest artists have killed themselves or
Yeah.
lost it. You know, it's a fake life. If you look at if you can maintain a real life, which is, you know, your family, those people you love,
Mm-hmm.
if you could separate those two, I mean, this is the entertainment business. I am
Right.
here to entertain you.
Mm-hmm.
I'm done entertaining you once I enter my home. You
Right.
know, I'm a character when I go out, and you know, you saw me. It's this is you. You're getting P La Cangri, you know. But when I'm home, I'm normal. And my family says I'm not normal, but you know, I try to be as normal as possible.
For
You
sure.
know, but I'm not. I know for a fact that if I would have sold my soul, you know, you couldn't even talk to me right now.
Probably wouldn't feel right.
But you couldn't probably talk to me right now because you know I'd be that
Yeah.
big. You know,
Right.
I've had the opportunity of selling my soul a million times,
Mm-hmm.
but it's not something that I feel comfortable with. You know, I don't
Right.
feel comfortable, you know, giving into whoever they are to do whatever to get wherever. I live a
Right.
great life. You know, I've got things popping. I can go wherever I please, travel whenever I want, do whatever I want, spend my money, and it's mine. Mine. I owe nobody anything. No money. There's no investor. There's nothing. There's no one
Right.
that can say to you, "Hey, P La Cangri owes me," or you know, she did this, or I've got this video of her doing what. Nothing.
Right.
But a lot of people have done stuff, and you know, they're suffering. It's terrible.
Yeah, it's bad, real bad. So on the flip side, though,
Yes.
how do you define success?
Wow, that's a great question. How do I define success? To me, is being able to get up in the morning and I can decide to do whatever the hell I want. That's success. I can do what I can get on the plane right now, or I can go have dinner with someone, or I can do whatever I want without having to think about the monetary value of it or having to think of can I. So I think being able to do what you want at the moment, that defines for me, that defines success.
Very well put. Now, 2 years ago, you were handpicked as part of the class of 2021 of the Recording Academy. So let's talk
That
about
was
that a little bit.
that was crazy.
Talk about that for a little bit.
I was heading to breakfast with a cousin of mine,
Mm-hmm.
and I got an email from the Grammys, the Recording Academy.
Yeah.
And I said, why am I getting this email today? Because I know when we get emails and from the Latin Grammys. And I said, wait,
Right.
this is not the Latin Grammy. This is the Recording Academy. I'm like, oh God, am I in trouble? So my cousin said, what is it? Like, well, I don't know. So I pulled over. I was
Mm-hmm.
in Manhattan. And I looked at it. I said, get out of here. So I gave it to her. She's a school teacher.
Mm-hmm.
And we're driving to go have breakfast. And she goes, P, the Recording Academy, you've been handpicked. I said, that's what I read. Is that insane? She goes, no, it's real. It was awesome. It was the first time they ever did that. The first year they ever handpicked anybody. I want to thank who it was, and I have no idea who handpicked or how they. I have no idea how the mystery goes of how it happened. But yeah, but it feels awesome. You know, I didn't apply. I was handpicked. That's dope.
That is it. Wow. Well,
Yeah.
first, congrats are in
Thank you.
order, you know what I mean, for getting something like that, which is never, I mean, no one's really handpicked for those things. So the fact that you were
Yes.
handpicked for this honor, that is incredible, and it
Yeah,
speaks volumes
it's
of the work
crazy.
that you've been putting in. And a lot of times,
Thank
like I
you.
always say, the hardworking people should reap the benefits because they're the ones that's really putting the time in, putting the work in, without having to cut corners or to stab someone in the back or step on someone's toes. You don't have to do
Absolutely.
that. It may
No,
take
you
you a little bit
don't.
longer to get
Right.
there, but guess what? You got there the honest way. You got there the right way.
Absolutely. Absolutely. It can be done.
Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. Now, you made you alluded to it a little earlier in the interview. We talk about Boss of the Block. For those that haven't heard have heard this album as of yet, tell the people and give them like a bird's eye view of what they can look forward to listening to track by track for Boss of the Block.
Okay, Boss of the Block is a Latin urban album.
Mm-hmm.
It's a New York record.
Mm-hmm.
You hear it when you put on the first song, you feel the concrete. You are in New York. It's a
Mm.
very, very New York album. The swag is there. The delivery, even though I'm rapping in Spanish, the
Mm-hmm.
delivery is very, very New York. It has a lot of nuances, a lot of nuances of New York City and our forefathers, our hip hop forefathers.
Yeah.
It's gritty, it's dirty, and it's hard.
That's New
You
York
know,
hip hop.
yeah, yeah, absolutely. And then when I go into there's some reggaetons. The reggaetons are sexy. Um, they're um, they're sexy. They're sexy. And we've got some Afro beats going on too.
Mm.
On the album, but it's definitely a well-rounded New York album. I'm very proud of it, and it's called Boss of the Block.
And who are some of the producers that were on this record?
We're gonna call them. It's two guys. Their names are Jungle Juice. So it's Jay Lee and Jesus. Big up to them if they're listening. And some guy from not some guy, he's a friend of mine from Spain. His name is Yosni. So Yosni worked on the song called La Fiebre, which is fever. And one of the remixes was done by Adam Joseph. Adam Joseph is a Billboard ranked producer, amazing. So he did one. He's a really good friend, so he did a remix of it, and I co-produced everything. It has my touch everywhere.
Your last single, Bayando Kizoba, surpassed over 1 million views on YouTube as well as Facebook, and you're gaining loyal fans worldwide. So how does it feel when you're getting those type of views, those type of numbers, in regards to your catalog?
It's crazy. That was before Boss of the Block. So that's the single right before Boss of the Block. Yo, I reached 1 million views. It was nuts. It was nuts. And then Atrévete, which is the first single of Boss of the Block, I think it's 5 million worldwide at this point. Yeah. It's a dope video. Check it out. It's dope.
I most definitely will. Because like I said, you have a very deep catalog.
Yeah,
So
I do.
you have a very, very deep one. And I'm trying to at least get halfway there. I'm trying. I'm getting there, but
that's cool. I appreciate
we're kind
it.
of getting there. Yeah, for sure. Now, any, collaborations, what I mean, when you're collaborating with, whether it's a producer or if you're collaborating with other artists, we all, and you said it earlier, artists, we do have ego sometimes. Where is the happy medium with you when you're doing a collaboration with, producers or other artists? Where's that happy medium?
Producers is very simple. When I walk into a session, I leave my ego outside and I sit with the producer and I say, you tell me what you want me to do. I'm going to do exactly what you tell me to do. And I become a parakeet. So whatever the producer wants me to do, I'm there. I got to let the producer do his job. Yes, I am the co-producer, but I've got to I've done everything. We're here now. So I'm going to let you do your job so I can have the best product ever. As far as artists, man, artists are just, some of them are assholes, man. It's like, they don't want to do the work. They don't want to do the work. They just don't want to do the work. They want to do, I didn't do any collaboration on this album yet. I mean, I'm sure there'll be a few singles that I'll have collaborators on, but I didn't do a collaboration because if you're not willing to work as hard as I am, if you're not willing to put in that promotion money on yourself, I can't work with you. Now, I've asked, there was a female artist who wanted to get on the album. So I asked her, I said, what is your budget for promotion? She goes, what does that mean? I go, exactly what it means. How much money are you going to spend? Or if you don't know, tell me, how are you going to promote this song if I put it out with both of us? What is your plan? If you don't know a plan, say, P, I don't know a plan. What do we do? but nobody wants to spend their own money on themselves. Nobody wants to promote. They think that they do a song and you're Michael Jackson tomorrow. Doesn't
Mm-mm.
work that way. Or Daddy
No,
Yankee. You're not.
no.
You're not. So I haven't done any collaborations yet. Jay Lee, who's one of my co-producers on some of the album, you can hear his voice doing some things, which is kind of cool. I try to get him to sing with me, but he said he not on this one. He said on the next one he'll sing. But yeah, that's my approach is to let the producer do his job. That's my approach. No ego whatsoever.
Yeah, I love the fact that it's almost like when I'm in the studio too, sound engineer, producer, or whatever, and it's like I look at them as a head coach almost, and I'm the player. You know what I mean? And they're calling the plays, or they're saying, "Hey, you know, I need to hear this," or they'll throw some suggestions at me. You know what I
Right,
mean? And you
right.
learn, and that's how I was able to learn. And I'm super grateful for some of the sound engineers that I worked with in the past because
Hmm.
I was able to learn so much about just some of the technical things from a production standpoint that a lot of people overlook. Maybe the average music fan may not even appreciate. You know what I mean? They
Right.
just think it's just a push of a button and they make all these things happen. No, it is a process
Yeah, it is. No,
in
no
there.
matter which way, it is a process. Absolutely.
Now, before we get out of here, where can people find you on social media, things of that nature?
So Instagram, it's at P La Cangri, which is PLACANGRI, and pilacangri.com. Everything is P La Cangri. And I'm
Okay.
pretty much accessible. Pretty much accessible.
Well, P La Cangri, again, it's been a pleasure. Again, you have no idea. It's been a pleasure to have you on, the
Thank
D-Lew
you.
podcast, and sharing your knowledge, sharing your wisdom. And like I said, I'm smart because I know I'm not, and I listen to those that are. And
Absolutely.
you're extremely smart, know this business, you
Thank
know
you.
the ins and outs and everything. And I just sometimes I sit back and even when I interview somebody and I just let my guests talk because I'm a sponge, you know what I mean?
Mhm.
I want to know information, not so much of trying to use it to use it against somebody. No,
Of
it's
course
to
not. Yeah.
share and to learn and to absorb. You know what I mean? So I am super appreciative of a lot of the gems you were dropping on this episode today, and we definitely look forward to doing some things down the road.
Thank you. Thank you for
All
having.
right.
Sorry, I made you wait 3 months. I didn't realize it was that long.
No, that's cool. Don't worry about it.
All right.
Well, that does it for this week's edition of the D-Lew Podcast. Again, I want to thank P La Cangri for stopping by and giving us her story and where she's been, where she's at, and where she's going. And I wish her all of the best on continued success in all that she does. This past weekend, I spent a lot of time, advertising, Espacion, my new record, my new single with Angie Stars. Been really social media, you know what I mean? Really putting it out there. This past Tuesday, the official music video is out. So you can go onto my YouTube channel. You can also see the music video on Tidal. You can also see it on Apple Music. So make sure that you do it. And also, if you have Apple TV and any smart TV that has Vivo, you can actually watch the music video on Vivo as well. Go to Derrick T. Lewis and you can look it up and you can see Espacion on there as well. This weekend, you can find me at the Delaware Taco Festival with Monster Factory Pro Wrestling. We'll be there both days doing some Lucha Libre type wrestling. We're doing 2 shows per day. Check me out there. It's in Wilmington, Delaware. If you can just Google Delaware Taco Festival, you'll be able to find information there. Come check us out. There's going to be other performances there as well. I know there's other vendors there, but of course, there's tacos. You can have all tacos that you want. Well, you can, go on to my social media. That's, all social media. I'm not going to even name the apps. You know the deal. The Real DT Lew. Facebook is Derrick T. Lewis official page. You can go on to my store, shop.derricklewis.com. And if you're listening to this podcast and haven't subscribed yet, what are you waiting for? Make sure you hit the subscribe button so you can get all new content for the D-Lew Podcast brought to you by Believe Network when it becomes available. Well, again, I'm going to get out of here. And just remember, as I always say, no matter what it is you do in life, always remember to make it count. See you next time.